All right, everybody. All right, everybody. All right, everybody. Oh, do I remember the time when I used to have respect for certain YouTubers? Boy, do I remember the time. All right, this video is not a video that I really want to do because I was up last night and I thought that I was going to see an epic video where two of my favorite YouTube personalities would get together and have an intellectual debate about issues that they have both had opposing views on. But instead, I got a bunch of third grade drivel from two people who I most admired. I held Jason Black at the Black Channel. I held him to a very high standard. When I would describe him to my friends, I would say, you know, he has his little quirks. He has his misogynistic viewpoints. However, this man is an intellectual powerhouse. And Cynthia G, you know, she may, you know, go a little bit too overboard sometimes with the, you know, Black male bashing, but to her defense, you know, a lot of times it is in defense of them bashing her. But these two both have made great strides in educating and bringing awareness about issues affecting the Black community. They both have. And yet, when I went to Jason's channel yesterday, and he was waiting for someone special to chime in, it was very shocking for me to find out that it was Cynthia G on the line. And I was so happy. I was like, oh my goodness, I went ahead and I began to record my screen because I was like, yes, this is going to be epic. But no, no. Instead, I got something completely different. And I'm going to play just a little bit. I'm on the line, and I'm going to play just a little bit for you right here.
Whoever's on the line, you need to unblock your number. Did you get that?
I'm on the line, and I'm not going to unblock my number because I don't want Dusty Betas calling my phone. This is Cynthia.
I'm the only person who would have your number. There's nothing Dusty or Beta about me.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not even sure why your audience wants me to call in.
You've spent a very, very long time trying to get a hold of me for reasons I don't understand.
Jason, if I wanted to get a hold of you, I would have found your email and emailed you. Anybody who watches me, you know, I don't hide anything. When I want to get in touch with somebody, I get in touch with them. Right?
Well, you called
if I want to make comments about them, I make comments about them.
You called tonight, so clearly you wanted to. You spent years trying to do it. You messaged me before asking to, and I declined it. I haven't
messaged you before.
Okay.
I've never messaged you. When?
Okay. I got only one.
When have I ever messaged you?
I've only got one question that I'd like to ask.
Go ahead.
I'd like to ask you. And I want to send this out to everybody listening right now. Cynthia, who spent so much time and tried so many different ways to get my attention. Cynthia,
nobody tried getting your attention. If you're gonna put false lies out, I'm not even gonna hang up because I don't have time for that. I never tried to get your attention. If I wanted it, I would do what I did tonight.
I only want to ask one question, Cynthia.
Go ahead.
I will be very glad to show you my face if you can show us your edges. If you do that right now, I will post a video. So people
can you show me your intellect? How about that? Can you show me your intellect?
Cynthia, yes, I will show whatever you want.
I'm waiting for a man to show his intellect.
And I'm waiting to see
and
your
his masculinity, not talk about hair and makeup.
And I'm looking.
You work for the Bronner Brothers?
I'm looking
that question.
Dear,
you work for the Bronner Brothers?
Yes, I can get a license, sure. Whichever you prefer.
Okay, that's why. That's probably why.
Okay.
Because I know most
Cynthia,
men
can we see your
who
roots?
are closet homosexuals, they focus on hair and makeup. So that's why.
Well, you know what? I just want to see your roots. I just want to see your roots.
Now it makes sense. Are you really that concerned with my edges, Jason Black, or do you have something real else to get off your mind?
Cynthia, it's just that I'm bald.
Because if you have something else to get off your chest, that's fine.
Cynthia, I'm
bald.
But
I didn't know we were discussing hair and makeup.
Okay, well, I'm just saying is that I'm bald and I'm black, and you're bald and I'm black, and you're black too. And I just don't want people to confuse us as being brother and brother. I want them to see us as brother and sister. So I don't want them to see
nobody would confuse me with you because I'm miles ahead of you intellectually. That's why you're wasting time talking about hair rather than getting to the actual intellectual points. Now, people said I was afraid of that word. Where's the word? Because we can talk about hair all day. That's trivial. But I'm trying to figure out where's this intellectual word.
No, the problem is we can't talk about hair all day. I can talk about hair all day. You can only talk about it for about 2 seconds.
But you brought up the topic. I thought I was coming in here for some intellectual words.
Yes.
Somebody in the chat room said that I was afraid to get that word. Where's it at?
This is the root of your hatred and your venom. When you look in the mirror, you see a black male and you're very angry because you can't alter it.
No, when I look at black men today, I see black women because they're very feminine, and I suspect you're no different. That's why you're wasting time.
But you're very masculine
and talking about what all dusty beta males talk about.
But Cynthia,
again,
if you took off
where is the intellect, Jason Black? Because it doesn't require intellect.
If she took off that headband wig, she would look like RuPaul. She's talking about how black men are feminine. She looks masculine.
I need some. You can do that.
You look like
and actually, I have someone that wants me to promote it, so I can send you a couple bundles if you really want to, and I can play some edges for you too.
Dear, I don't.
Or maybe you prefer man weave, which is what a lot of these other dusty beta males are starting to do. They're starting to wear man weave because they're so obsessed with it, which I suspected. You probably wear it too.
You know what? At least I could wear a weave. Unlike you, at least I could wear one. They could sew one in.
Anybody can, genius. Anybody can, genius. You don't have to have hair to put on a wig.
The difference is they can sew mine in.
The thing of it is where is your intellect? You don't even have the intellect to know that you don't need to possess any hair to wear a wig.
No, dear, they could sew mine in.
Where is this intellectual work I'm supposed to be getting?
They could actually sew in my weave. They couldn't sew yours in. They'd have to just get super glue and tack it on. They could actually sew mine in. If I were inclined.
Be that as it may, where is this intellect and this work that your followers, your Dusty Brigade, talk so much about?
That was a knockout, by the way. I just said, by the way, that was a knockout, by the way.
That's fine, Jason Black. Where is the intellect? That's what I called in for. Your little dusty chat room has a lot to say about, nobody wants Jason Black's intellectual work. They say that about your dusty comrade Tariq too, and he could only talk about hair and makeup too. So I'm trying to figure out where is the intellectual black men who are going to face me intellectually rather than talking about cosmetics. Would you like to know what type of tampons I wear too? Would you like to know what type of tampons I wear?
I don't believe
you. Want to know my bra size?
I don't believe
you. Would you like to know the type of deodorant I wear? Do I wear a secret or a degree? I can tell you those two since you're so concerned with makeup.
Until you can prove that your head doesn't look like mine, I don't believe you wear a bra or tampons or anything else. So far, we haven't proven you're not a man.
You probably wear one though. You probably wear one. That's really why you don't want to show yourself, because you moonlight as a transsexual. That's why. You probably dress up like those other insecure men who have no masculinity, who like to sit up and put on garter belts and thongs at night and wigs and pretend to be women. Is that really why you don't want to show yourself, Jason Black, because you know somebody's going to out you? I think it might be.
Triggered. She is very
triggered. Should stop. Here's the thing.
Do you all see how, I'm muted real quick. Do you all see how triggered she is now? Do you all see how upset she is? Because let me just tell you, before now, Tariq is a nice guy. But you all know it. Just listen to him. He's very polite. He's very soft-spoken. He's very mild-mannered. Tariq is a very polite dude. Jason Black damn sure ain't. So I just go straight to this. Yeah, if I need to go for the jugular, I can. Mr. Nice Guy, yeah.
You can try. You can make up stuff like other people do, but I mean, it's not gonna affect me. But sure, go ahead. You're gonna come with the same.
She has literally spent years trying to get my attention, trying to do whatever she could. Well, tonight she got my attention, and now all of a sudden she don't want it anymore. Let's see you, Jason. Okay, now she doesn't want to talk about seeing me anymore. You all thought that was going to go one way. You see where this went totally off the rails, huh? Yeah, all of a sudden she don't want to see me no more.
Brain, if you can. You're taking remedial topics about cosmetics. Where is the intellect? I'm waiting to get that work.
I don't think you deserve intellect.
You don't have intellect. That's why. You don't think I deserve it because you can't match it. Because if you could match it, you would say, hey, I disagree with this. Like, I'm going to tell you what I disagree with. You know what I disagree with? Because it's false.
No,
the notion that black women are the reason that black men are not stepping up. Black men are not stepping up because they're not men.
Not going to discuss that with you.
You're sitting on here.
You are not the person we will discuss that with. You see, if it were somebody else, they would deserve to have a discussion, a intellectual, thoughtful debate, but not you. If it were someone else, I would speak. If it were someone else, I would debate. If it were someone else, I would talk, but not you. Because you see, the problem that we have is that we have allowed bitter, broken broads to cobble together on the internet with their bitter, broken ways. And I'm firmly convinced, Cynthia, that if you actually had a head full of hair, you'd be a much nicer, congenial person and not so bitter.
Black women are feminine. They're single mothers.
By the way, I keep muting her. She's literally back there just talking and talking to something. That's what she does.
Okay. All right. That's about as much of that as I can take. He's just going to keep muting her, and they're just going to keep going back and forth, and nothing is going to get accomplished, from this debate. Or I can't even call it a debate. It was an encounter. Let me go ahead and share my camera real quick, guys. All right. Hey, everybody, it's me. All right. So here's my take on that whole Jason Black, Cynthia G situation. Sorry about this. My camera situation is not set up right. When Cynthia first came into the chat room, to speak with Jason, she did kind of jump it off by saying that she didn't want to unblock her number because she didn't want any dusty beta males calling her. And that was right up Jason's alley. I mean, I don't even think that he had any intention of having any type of intellectual conversation with her anyway. I was there a little bit for the live feed last night. And like I said, I was excited when I found out that Cynthia and Jason were going to, actually bump heads together. I was expecting an intellectual debate, but instead this is what we get. And here's the thing. For a long, long time, I have suspected that Jason Black has no respect at all for Black women. Every single Black female caller that ever calls into his show, he always belittles them in some kind of way. Just like even before Cynthia G called in, I listened to the first half of his broadcast, and he called some woman a ditzy broad, like within the first 10 seconds of her speaking. Now, he does not really do this to the men that call into the show, though. The men that call into the show, he goes in on everybody, sure enough, but he really has some sort of dysfunction where he has no type of patience for women whatsoever. And so he's using little words. I notice the words that he uses with the women that he doesn't use with the men, like belittling their intellect, calling them ditzy. Or, hey, what's going on? Are you a single mother? He's always leading with things like this, trying to bait women in so that he could belittle them and argue with them and make somehow whatever they're saying not mean anything because either they're a single mother and what they're saying doesn't mean anything because they're part of the bastard baby making program. You know, I've gotten this guy's number over the years. And like I said, I was one of the few that actually had a lot of respect for Jason. And here's why. Jason is an intellectual powerhouse. The man is up there as far as his knowledge. He has vast knowledge of many things. But he is, what can I say? He's an asshole. You know, he's a butthole. He does not know how to talk to people. All of his callers that call in, he basically tramples on them. I don't understand why people call into this man's show. So, you know, when Cynthia called in, you know, when he said that he was reserving a line for somebody special, someone in particular, I was thinking that it was not going to be the same thing because, you know, this might be somebody that he really, really wanted to hash it out intellectually with. But I should have known better. When I heard Cynthia's voice, I should have known better. I should have known that he was going to go for the jugular. I should have known that I wasn't going to hear anything intellectual. He just did like every other dumb, as Cynthia G would call them, beta male would do. He did not debate her on any of her talking points, any of her ideologies. He didn't debate anything that he may have disagreed with that she ever spoke of. Instead, he went straight for hair. He went straight for, you know, calling her out her name, telling her that she's masculine. And doesn't this sound familiar? Isn't this the same thing that a lot of Black men said about Venus and Serena Williams? But then I get a lot of Black men that are coming to my chat room and lie, basically lie, and say, oh no, Black men never did that to Venus and Serena Williams. We're just angels. We supported them. Venus, you know, and Serena Williams, you know, they dated white men. Serena married a white Armenian guy, and you know, she just should be cast away. You know, she should be thrown out. Never mind, Kanye West did the same thing. And you all, when Kanye West married Kim, Black men were quick to say that Kim Kardashian is Black, even though she is a white Armenian woman. So now, since Kim Kardashian is Black, I guess we can say that Serena Williams' husband is Black, right? But, you know, like I said, back to the point that I was making about Jason, he has this habit of doing this on his broadcast with women. And it's starting to look like he's putting on a show for his core audience. And those are those dusty beta males that Cynthia G is always talking about. So all he really did, he proved Cynthia G right. He proved her right. Cynthia has always maintained that a lot of these Black male YouTubers that sit up here and criticize Black women, they are not capable of holding any type of regular debate with a woman without ad hominem attacks against her looks, against makeup. They want to talk about makeup. They want to talk about hair weave. They want to talk about how you dress, but they don't want to talk about the issues. Let's talk about why Cynthia G feels that most Black men are deadbeat fathers, that most Black men don't stick around to take care of their children. Let's talk about why Cynthia G thinks that a lot of you are dusty beta males. I mean, he had an opportunity to open the floor and they could have had a healthy debate about it, but no. Instead, I got 20 some odd minutes of, I don't even know what that was. I really don't. And like I said, I was a Jason supporter. You know, I spoke very highly of him in a lot of my videos. I mean, he does have a few caveats that I can do with that. Like I said, I always know that he was misogynistic, but I held him to a higher standard that if he had an opportunity to meet with another popular YouTuber like himself, that he would conduct himself in the manner in which a king should be befitted. But no, he acted like a buffoon, not a king. Where is the Black male leadership? You know, I hold Jason Black most responsible because he is the Black male. And once again, you all sit up here talking about you want to be the leaders and Black women should follow your lead and we should let you take the reins. But the minute we do, the minute we follow your lead, the minute we let you take the reins, you guys are beating up on us. This is what you do. You can't trust you. And this is the reason why I will not appear on any male YouTuber's page asking me for a debate, asking me. Obsidian has asked me for a debate once. I've got his request still in my private DM, and I will not do it. You know, especially after this, after someone that I held to a high standard, such as Jason Black, after he did what he did, the doors are open now. All these dusky beta males are going to see this, and this is an example to them of how they should treat women who they go and debate with. This is what they're going to look, because of course Jason is their internet daddy, and they are going to take their cues from their internet daddies, and they are going to go in on Black women in the same way. So I was looking for Jason to set the bar a little bit higher. I was looking for Jason to do something completely different than what Tariq did. I was looking for Jason to do something completely different than what somebody like Tommy or Angry Man would do. But he just put himself on the same level as those guys in one fell swoop. Let me go ahead and go off camera here for a second, but I'm still here. You're going to hear my voice. I have got to get up and roam around, and I know you guys don't need to see me doing all of that. But let me go ahead and see what's going on in the chat room here. I want to say hi to everybody. Hi, Black Eye. What is this? Is that Black Ice? Hello, Black Ice. Real Beauty Nest 25. How are you? Pookie Bear 97. Connect Energy. Let's see. Oh, 100% wrong, but Serena is no equivalent. Well, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I would compare the Serena Williams thing because she married an Armenian and Kanye married an Armenian, and everybody wanted to claim Kim Kardashian as Black right away. But none of you Black men are saying that white Armenian that Serena married is Black. You guys are not trying to put him on the Black clan like you're trying to put Kim Kardashian on the Black clan. So I just find that to be very interesting. My baby says I got blocked by the female mod on the Black Authority just for mentioning anything about Black women. I can believe it. Jason has blocked me plenty of times for speaking my mind. I mean, there have been times where he's had some female guests on the show. I remember he had a female psychiatrist on his show, and I thought that he was utterly ridiculous with her. He didn't get to the ridiculous proportions that he got to with Cynthia with her, but I still didn't like how he was talking to her on his show. He was undermining her and basically giving her none of the respect that he would give to any of the other male YouTubers. Like he's given white supremacists, what's his name? That Spencer guy that he sat down and had an interview with, he's given him more respect than he gave any of the Black females that appeared on his show. And I find that to be very telling. If you can sit down with known white supremacists and be mannerable and respectful, why can't you do the same with your own people is what I want to know. Let's see who else is in here. I think I got everybody. Okay, what is this? Lily World, I don't argue back and forth. Okay, this person's messages in here is held for review. I don't think I'm going to put it in here, but they're saying that that's what you Black women get for dealing with these ain't shit niggas. You know what? I'm going to show it. I mean, you know, I don't do that on this channel. I don't do that. I'm going to go ahead and show it. Hi, True Royal family. I do not know how I missed you in here. This is my blessed queen, True Royal family. You guys check out her channel. She has a lot of interesting topics, and she's always keeping us well informed about issues affecting the Black community. But back to what I was saying about this whole debacle with Jason and Cynthia. I also noticed that he does a lot of muting on his show. Whenever he's going in on someone and that person is really trying to, you know, give back to him what he's basically giving to them, he doesn't want to get that work himself. So what he does a lot of is he mutes. And so therefore you don't hear what the other person is saying in response to the bullshit that he put out there about them. And then he's going on with his monologue to his audience. He's pandering to these beta males and these silly women in his audience that allows this. And I just can't see how people have not seen through this guy just yet. I just don't understand how they haven't seen through this guy. Hold on, Lily World is saying, girl, bye, I'm done. Let me know when you black women are done expecting anything different from these niggas. Have fun. Well, you know what, Lily World, here's my thing, and I'm going to go ahead and let your comment slide through there, okay, because I read it out. Lily World, here's the thing. I look at a person's intellect. I look at what they bring to the table as far as educating our people. I know that everybody's not perfect either. I listen to everyone. I listen to True Royal Family. I listen to Cynthia G. I listen to Jason Black. I listen to Professor Black Truth. These are people who are intellectual powerhouses. Each person's name, Radical Home Sister too. I listen to her. These are intellectual powerhouses. Prince Ifin Tunde. That's what's his name? I listen to what's his name? Goodness gracious, I'm drawing a blank with his name, but he has the Intellectual Chocolate channel. So I listen to everyone, most of the intellectual powerhouses. That's who I listen to. F.A. Jones, Lily World is telling you she is a swirler. You know, to each their own, kinetic energy. You know how I feel about the whole swirling thing. I think at this point, the swirling situation is mute, especially with the climate that we're in as Black people today. You've got to be an idiot if you do not see the climate that we are in as Black people. True Royal Family says, I need mods. You know what? I'm trying not to, True Royal Family. I really am. I want everybody to be able to voice their opinion. I don't want to be that person that, you know, gets people blocked and everything because they're simply stating how they're feeling. So, you know, I want to give people a chance to say what they feel without having to block them. I just ask that everybody be respectful when they come to my channel, because I don't want you to sit up here and take advantage of the fact that I'm not modding anyone up to get rid of you. Hi, Sherry. But anyway, kinetic energy, I don't agree with swirling, but at the same time, kinetic energy, I'm going to let everyone have their say. You know, we need to let everyone have their say. If we mute everybody, then we don't get all sides of the story. So this is the reason why I don't have mods, and I don't, you know, I don't oust people out like that unless they're being completely disrespectful. Then yes, you will get the boot. I'm not going to tolerate any disrespect here. No. Black Guy says, you call into any show, you're going to lose because the host has their finger on the mute button. Exactly. And that's the reason why I don't do any of these requests for debates and interviews anywhere. I would probably, if I did do a debate or something like that, I would probably do it on Phil's show, a platform that's just kind of, how can I say, it's got to be a platform where both of us have a chance to get our say out. I don't want anyone to have that much control over me. So it's got to be neutral ground. True Royal Family says, my queen, how do you feel about Cynthia G dissing Black men? I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that Cynthia has to say about dissing Black men, but I don't believe that she is referencing all Black men. And I know that sounds like a cop-out, but when I listen to Cynthia talk, I hear her, you know, saying that these are the dusty beta males that she's referring to. And she said on more than one occasion that she's not referring to all Black men, just the dusty ones. So, you know, I don't see her as bashing Black men as a whole, but I do know that she's talking about a certain demographic. And I do agree with her to some extent about the demographic that she's referring to. Let's see, I can't, is that my babies? My babies? Think about life. Who has the mute button in life too? It's females. Who has the mute button in life too? Is females. Why do you say that, my babies? We have the mute button. We put Black men on mute. How do we do that? Because for the last decade or so, it's been pretty lopsided in social media as far as Black men having their say and bashing on Black women. For the last 2 decades or so, it's been Black men that have had the say as far as what they put out in their music about Black women and their life in the hood. So the narrative has always been framed by Black men, and Black women, you know, have had, you know, very little outlets to really tell our part of the story. Our side of the story is just now getting told. So I don't see Black women as having the mute button at all. Sherry says Cynthia G only bashes the Black men who won't step up and lead, just the ones who stay silent. Exactly. And that's what I see her as doing as well, Sherry. You know, I don't see her as bashing all Black men. And the ones that take some sort of issue with what she has to say, those are probably the Black men that she's referring to. Let's see here. Somebody has a message held for review. Let me see who this is. Kinetic Energy. I think she spits a lot of truth. I agree with 90% of what Sin says. I can't stand her voice and disagree with her method of constantly bashing. Okay, I'm gonna let that through. My baby says, because they just focus the attention on to their vaginas and American freedoms. My babies, you're saying that Black women are focused on our vaginas, really? You know, I take issue with that. Here's the thing, Black women, we have been the backbone of the Black community ever since we've been emancipated, ever since we've been set free from slavery. You have to remember that in this social infrastructure, it was set up for you guys, for all of us actually, to be a permanent underclass. And so when that structure was set up where Black men are being thrown in jail for anything, vagrancy, loitering, not having a job, I mean, anything, they were throwing you guys in jail for. And so that left a lot of us to have to fend for ourselves. We had to hold together the families. When you all couldn't work, when they weren't giving you opportunities, it was the Black women that had to go out and get those jobs as maids. It was the Black women that had to go out there and we had to wash clothes or learn how to tailor. We had to do everything because our men were not able to do it. And it wasn't that we didn't love you. We didn't put you out of the house. We did what we can to maintain you guys and the babies that we had with you. We did what we could. But now, you know, when you guys get a chance to come up and do something, when laws begin to change and things start to get just a tad bit better, there's no relief for the Black woman. And I think that's what Cynthia G's platform is all about. It's about, when are you guys going to step up and help your women? You know, we've been swimming in this thing by ourselves. We can't do it all by ourselves. You know, it's got to be a point where you guys step in and say, hey, we're gonna, you know, take the load off of you, Black women. You know, good job holding the community together. Good job, you know, holding it down when we couldn't. Now we got it. That's what we want to hear, but we never do. Instead, we get Black men of today, like Jason Black and his ilk, who want to step all over Black women. I look at what he does to the Black women in his camp. It's almost like a cult in there. You know, he makes sure to put this how can I say, it's kind of like a climate where you as a woman can't speak unless you're not a single mother, or you as a woman, you can't speak unless you totally agree with everything that Jason and his followers say, and you're kissing his butt 24/7. You can't speak up on anything on behalf of women. You can't disagree with anything that he's saying on behalf of single mothers. You can't disagree, period. You have to just be an obedient woman and be quiet, because he equates women being quiet with being feminine. He throws that out there a lot. And so this brainwashing that he does in his camp to the women that follow him, you know, I look at it and I say, okay, there's a demographic of women that's going to think that if they do everything that he says, that some kind of way they're going to get a man. And I'm here to say that those men in his camp, they're not going to reward those women. They're just not going to do it. Those women are sitting in there, you know, bobbing for Scooby stacks that they're not going to get. And I feel so sorry for them. I feel so sorry for them. But let's see what's going on in the chat. Black Ice says, wake up, you're under her siren spell. Okay, how am I under her siren spell, Black Ice? Because I don't agree with everything Jason Black has to say. I'm not under Jason Black's siren spell. Now, mind you, I don't agree with everything that Cynthia G says on her platform. She has certain things about marriage that I don't agree with. Yeah, she's totally against marriage. And I feel completely different than she does as far as the marriage thing is concerned. But I don't believe that anyone, oh, kinetic energy says he's speaking to you. Okay. Well, I don't believe that anyone deserves to be disrespected when they go onto a public platform to speak with anyone. If I had a show and people were calling in, I wouldn't be sitting up here belittling the people that call in to speak with me. And, you know, he hardly ever thanks any of the female callers for calling in. And I noticed that too. Like most of the guys that call in, even if he's just rung them out, he'll still thank them for calling. But he doesn't do the same with the women. He has some sort of vitriol towards women. And I've been noticing this over the last 5 years now. Let me see what you guys are talking about. Sherry says, yes, F.A. Jones, the way they were attacking her last night was pathetic. Like he has become a Jim Jones type. They were following him and blindly giving him money. Yes, I saw he had people just throwing $100 super chats up there. And I think I might have counted at least $700 or $800 that he made. And what was really kind of telling, did you guys catch what he said at the end of his broadcast? I thought was really interesting. Let me play that for you guys. Let me see if I can catch that.
She wants to call up during the next broadcast. By the way, bring it on. If she wants to call up on the next broadcast, you are absolutely invited to, but I gotta warn you, like Chris Cross said, in my eyes, nigga, you don't want none. And I said that the way I meant it. From where I stand, nigga, you don't want it. You just think you do. Lord have mercy, it smells like money in here.
Okay, did you guys catch that? Did you guys catch what he said at the end of his broadcast? He said, Lord, have mercy. It smells like money in here. Why would he say that? Why would he say it smells like money in here? You know, and this is the thing that makes me very suspicious about these online confrontations too. Because I know that when two, you know, very, very popular YouTubers get together, everybody's going to want to see them. Everybody's going to want to hear what they've got to say to one another. Sometimes I'd be wondering if they don't orchestrate these things, because he says, my, oh my, it smells like money in here. Wow. Sherry says, he kept muting her when he couldn't hold his own with her and the room was going crazy. And a lot of us was begging him to stop and have an intellectual convo with her, but he was on a roll last night. Yeah, you know, and I didn't say anything. I kept quiet last night. And mostly because, you know, I didn't want to be involved at all. You know, it was on the tippy tip of my finger to call in myself, but then he said he wasn't taking any more phone calls, and I was glad, you know, because he probably would have did me the same way. He would have did me just the same way he did her. He would have muted me. He probably wouldn't even let me get any of my talking points out. He just would have just went in. I don't know, maybe one day I'll call into his show and just be anonymous. That's what you got to do. You got to call someone like him. You got to call into your show as a woman and be anonymous. You can't let him know who you are or give him any type of material to work from. Kinetic Energy said, I watched his first live chat and he got like 2,000. Yeah, he got like $2,000. You know, I think this is all about money, personally. I personally think money has a lot to do with these internet beefs. You know, YouTube has been, you know, doing a hell of a lot as far as, you know, making it hard for people to get paid on this platform anymore. So I believe that a lot of people are starting to become desperate. So I wouldn't put it past anybody to be sitting up here trying to formulate something or, you know, make it look like there's some beef going on. I wouldn't put it past it, because that last statement that he made, my, oh my, it smells like money. What on earth was that about? Let me see what you guys are talking about in here. Black Eye said it was a clear roast that she walked into. Yeah, she walked into it, definitely. And myself, I wouldn't have called in. You know, I know a lot of people where I saw where people were begging her to call in. I don't think that I would have taken that bait personally. Personally, I think I would have had to you know, walk away from that. Esmeralda, what does Jason Black have to offer the Black community? You know, Jason Black was one of the first Black people that I heard talking about economics. You know, and he was the first one to break it down in terms that were actually relatively easy to understand. And so when he was doing that on his platform, when he was breaking down to Black people about how we were being beaten, it had never occurred to me that we were in an economic war until I started going to his channel. So he's awakened a lot of people to the point that we are in an economic battle with white supremacy. But I just don't like the fact that he throws in his opinions about women and relationships and different things of that nature. I think that he shouldn't do that. I think he should really stick to what he does best, and that is speaking on and teaching people about economics and how they should go about you know, setting up businesses and job opportunities, so on and so forth. That's what he has offered to the Black community, or to the people that listen to him on his platform. And I found that to be very useful. So I wouldn't throw him out. You know, I wouldn't throw him away. It's just that I really wish that he would give up the whole misogynistic thing. Princess Rescuer says, hi, I'm a white man. Why are these? Okay, well, anyway, Hi, I'm a white man and I like your channel. I find it very interesting and have learned quite a few things about relationships. I hope you are able to fix things up. Yeah, okay. Moving right along. True Royal Family. Once Cynthia G starts putting down black men, I noticed YouTube stopped taking down her channel. Yeah, I noticed that too. And also her subscribers went up quite a bit. Like I said, when you do a lot of black male bashing, you get a certain demographic of people that flock to your channel that just come there just for the black male bashing because they're so angry and, dare I say, bitter that this is what they like. They're the equivalent of black beta male coons. If you're a black woman and your entire platform is about bashing black men, then you're no better than the Tommy Sotomayor's out there. Esmeralda says Cynthia G needs promo and publicity. Most blacks should know by now he's anti-black woman. His avatar is of a black serial rapist who died a Reagan supporter and a Mormon. Yes, you know what, Esmeralda, I actually did a video about Eldridge Cleaver. And that's who I was talking about when I did that video about Black Authority and how he idolizes Eldridge Cleaver. Eldridge Cleaver was a known rapist. And, in my opinion, he's a flip-flopper too, because during the last few years of his life, it seemed as if he was actually cozying up to white people. So all of that so-called activism that he did after he got out of prison, I wonder if that was just a front for his parole. I just feel like Eldridge Cleaver, he was just an opportunist. He was a narcissistic opportunist. Okay, now we got people coming in here calling Cynthia G a bid winch and Jason Black a bid buck. So we're going to start the name calling in here. I don't think so. I don't think so. But more to the point, that whole interaction between those two could have gone down a hell of a lot better. Like I said, Jason Black had the opportunity to set the bar higher than what it is, and what he did was he lowered the bar. I thought a man of his intelligence, I thought that he would have some sort of integrity, but I see he doesn't. You was around who as a child, True Royal Family? Eldridge Cleaver? I submit to the will of God says, I'll be honest with you. Anyone who talks bad or down about us Africans, men and women, need to be ostracized. True, true. But Jason Black also does a lot of down talking, especially to black women, but he disguises his a little bit better. Maybe not even as good, it's just that they accept his because he throws a little bit of intellectual property behind it. But downing people is still downing people. I don't care how intellectual you make it sound. Cynthia Black Ice says Cynthia G clearly stated in her video that she went to the mall with some white man and he bought her and her sister gifts. You know what? I heard something like that too in one of her videos. I think she was saying that she uses, or she used to use, I don't know what she does right now, white men. And she said that she would only go out with white men. Is my phone ringing? Oh, I'll just get it later. She said she used to go out with white men, just to use them, but that was the only capacity that she would ever be with a white man in, is to use them. And Jason Black has basically said the same thing on his platform, that black women need to be smart like white women and start using these white men. But for some reason or another, you all don't have a problem with Jason Black saying it, but you have a problem with Cynthia G doing it. And that to me is hypocrisy. Because he damn sure praises Kim Kardashian for her cunning ways. Let's see here. Woke Progressive says, I was so disappointed to see things spiral downward like they did. Cynthia G is a drama queen, so I suspected her nonsense, but Jason Black really disappointed me. I honestly believe he has ego issues. I agree too. Woke Progressive, I am with you on that. I held Jason to a higher standard than I did Cynthia. Now, I've seen Cynthia before. I've seen her in action. I've seen her, you know, basically, you know, she's gone from platform to platform, you know, arguing with people. So, you know, Black guys, why are you directing people to go watch Ali Emmett's video on my platform? That is very rude. Kinetic Energy says, I hope you monitor your email, so I'll try to contact you via that method, but this is not the best platform for ideas. I've just found you and subscribed. Thank you, Kinetic Energy. I really appreciate that. Well, anyway, if you guys want to go and watch Ali Emmett's video, I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. Black guys, thanks for, you know, pumping up somebody else's channel on my channel. That was really stellar of you. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. This is Faith Jones coming at you once again with another one of my videos. Do like, please share, and definitely do subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Everyone, you have a stellar evening. Good night.